Hello, I'm Asif Farouk of Finextra and we're here today with Stephen Lindsay, Head of Standards at Swift. Stephen, a lot of people will know about the standards forums from Sibos. What is the thinking about taking these forums to different markets?
Well, we want to get closer to the users of the standards and we want to get closer to their own locations. So that's certainly one reason, because not everybody gets to come to Sibos. A second reason is it allows us to talk about concerns that are very much local in nature. So whereas at Sibos, because we have a global audience, we tend to try to cover topics of global interest, here we can zoom in on the problems that are specific to a particular location. So for example, a couple of days ago we had a standards forum in New York on the 5th of March. We spent quite a long time talking about the details of the DTCC's implementation of ISO 20022, which of course is highly relevant to that audience, but not necessarily to a more global audience. And then finally, I think that it gives us an opportunity in general to go into more depth. They're smaller, slightly more intimate gatherings. People sign up and come for the day rather than just for 5 minutes or half an hour that they might at the standards forum when they're drifting past. So we can really have much more detailed conversations than we would normally.
And what's the value of teaming up with the Swift Institute?
Well, the Swift Institute is great because they bring an academic perspective to the whole world of standardization. Obviously, we have a lot of conversations in the standards world, but it's rather a small world, rather an insular world. So it's really interesting to get an external perspective, which is what the Swift Institute brings. And then on top of that, there's a large amount of really good quality academic research and work that's been done on standards, from the economics of standards to the technology and the tools around standards and so on. So it gives us a chance to learn about that and to be inspired by it as well.
And why do you think people should actually attend this event on the 25th of March?
Well, I think it's going to be a really interesting event. We've got a great lineup of speakers. We've got representatives from regulators, from bankers. We have academics there. We have standardizers there. So it really is a great cross-section of people who are going to talk about standards and also about regulation.
And what can they expect in terms of content?
Okay, regulation is very much the focus. I mean, we're looking at the gap, if you like, between the intention of regulation and the value that it's supposed to bring both to the regulators and to the industry and the economy as a whole, and the realization of that. And I think that our proposition is that standards can really help with the realization of that regulatory intent. So that's one of the topics that the principal topic, in fact, that we're going to cover is, what role can standards play in making regulation much more efficient and also much more effective. And as I said, we have lots of different perspectives on that whole question, from regulators to academics to practitioners and so on.
And what is next then for the Standards Forum?
Well, the Standards Forum's been going now for 10 years, and I think it's been a pretty major success, really. It's one of the sort of highlights of Sibos. It's certainly one of the major stands at Sibos and so on. And it's grown from something quite small into something quite large. But we don't want to rest on our laurels. We do want to try to improve the Standards Forum. And I think that one of the things that we want to do is to try and take it to a slightly wider audience. I mean, I talked earlier about the fact that we tend to be standardizers talking together. We really want to start talking much more to business people about the benefits of standardization. So that's certainly one thing that you'll see. I think we'll see a lot more collaboration, rather as we've done with the Swift Institute. I think we're looking for other bodies and different organizations to collaborate with as well. So we'll have Brought to You by the Standards Forum will be one of the themes. And then finally, I think a bit of a focus much more on sort of solutions and on the practical application of standards. I think that in the early parts of its life, the Standards Forum was very much about proselytizing for standardization generally and for the benefits of that, and also for ISO 20022 in particular, which was something that we were promoting at the time. And we still are, of course, but I think that the penny has dropped around the world about that particular standard now. I think that we no longer have to keep reinforcing the message that that standard is important. I think people are getting it. We're seeing so much traction. So now it's much more about how do we make the most of 20022. How do we make sure that people are implementing it in the right way, implementing it in compatible ways and so on. So it's the practical stuff that we'll see.